Updated Crusader build is finally here. My build that you guys have been asking for. Now, keep in mind before you watch it, disclaimer. My build is based on Bruiser style of play. There is many different ways to build a Crusader, but the way I play it is a DPS style. So I will be getting 30 kills, 40 kills in BGs. If you want to build a super tank where you just hold a cap, get a lot of assists, and you don't want to be able to be defeated, you probably should follow some other people's builds. Like Invulnerable makes really good builds. Check out him. But I will be also showing you guys my PvE build, and my PvE build is useful for absolutely everybody. So we're going to be jumping into it, and keep in mind, guys, that when I show you guys my build, this is the build I'm currently using. Things change all the time, but I've tried to make 3 different builds. So I'm going to be showing you guys my PvE build, my Bruiser Endurance build, and my Bruiser Evasion build. So let's just get into it. Today's video is sponsored by LDCloud, which is a software on your PC where you guys can play multi-instance games. Yes, you guys can play several games at once depending on how many devices you have available. It's very simple to use. If you guys are, for example, want to be playing Ragnarok M Classic, you can get the Ragnarok M Classic with the cloud phone, and the cloud phone will play for you 24/7. Yes, if the game has any type of AFK features, if you're AFK Journey or Ragnarok or any type of games, and you don't have time to play all the time, you can basically just check out the LDCloud phone, and it will do all your dailies for you, all the boring grind for you. So when you come back to the game, you will already have a lot of stuff farmed or grinded for you. So LDCloud works really nice. It's by far the best because it doesn't use any RAM or any extra juice from your PC. It's just like running in the background. So it's a great way. So if you guys are looking for a way to make your grinding and your life a little bit easier, check out LDCloud. It's very easy to use. All you have to do is you get your phone, and depending on how many devices you want to have, you can get different type of choices. But once you have your cloud phone, you can just go into it and then choose your game and it will work for you. Straightforward. If you guys use the link in the description below, you guys will get a free trial of 6 hours so you can test it out yourself. Now, second disclaimer, only use my quest log right here. Only use my quest log for the gear. My gear, not the skills, not the mastery, not the artifacts. I will tell you guys this over and over again, only for the gear, because I am too lazy to keep swapping my skills, keep swapping my masteries and artifacts. But I will show you guys what my skills are, what my mastery are, and what my artifacts are inside of the game. Okay, that's where I will show you guys in this video. So if you guys are trying to understand what skills, whatever I'm using, watch this video. So let's start with my normal PvE build. We start with the PvE, which is going to be this. Now, another disclaimer is I am using the Greatsword, but I will highly advise everybody that is tanking to use the SNS. The reason I have a Greatsword is because it's easy for me to swap between Gladiator and so on, but I would be using the Heroic SNS. So if you're a tank, use the Heroic SNS. The second disclaimer is you should go for the cape as a PvPer in general, but because I enjoy PvE and PvP, that's why I have the helmet. But in my opinion, the cape is still a bit better. So go for the cloak, okay? But I'm using the helmet. That's why my build is going to be based with a weapon, a GS, and a helmet. If I were you guys, I could go for different things. You have the SNS, don't worry. If you have a cape, it's fine, okay? But what is this build built on? So the reason why I have this build is I like to do damage in PvE, so I will be popping like 200k guillotines and stuff because I am tanky enough to survive absolutely everything inside of the game. So this is the gear that I use for PvE inside of the game. There is some changes that you could potentially make to certain gear. I actually have a band of agony that I'm using right now instead of that. But this is the one I use for PvE. So I like to have the belt. So King, it gives me attack speed, crit, dex. This one gives me front endurance, front heavy attack chance because I'm always in front of the boss. I have the Fallen Dynasty set for the damage boost. Now, if you want to be tanky, you can swap out the Dynasty set for like the Steelheart set. It's cheap, it's easy, and it gives you a lot of endurances and heavy attack damage resistance and general defenses. But I like the damage stat for the heavy attack, so I focus on a lot of heavy attack damage, and I have a lot of crit damage. So this is the build, the gear I use for PvE. Now let's talk about how this gear would look inside of the game and what skill set I use. So for PvE in general, this is my character right now. Let's put on my tank PvE. So my tank PvE is this gear that I'm currently using. Depending on the boss of mobs, I usually use Bulwark to chain the mobs in. That's why the heroic GS is nice, because you can put the Bulwark on it. But if I'm just PvEing, I usually use this for yeah. I mean, the Bulwark is only good for like mob pulling. It also, the nice thing about the Bulwark too, honestly, is it gives a lot of HP, and the skill damage boost is pretty nice on the Bulwark. I'm not gonna lie. So it's up to you what SNS you use, but Heroic G SNS is probably what you want to go for. This is my PvE build. It's very similar, as you guys can see. My stats over here is Strength, and 99 Dex Max, 60 Wisdom, and 70 Perception. You can't see it, but it's underneath my face right there. This is my stats that I use for PvE. My HP sits around 51. This is not 50. No, it's not correct. My HP is 55k. It's because I have PvP runes on right now. So my ECI PvP runes on. Usually I use max HP runes and stuff when I do PvE. So I would probably put like max HP, melee heavy attack, chance, and stuff like that. So that would sit around 55k HP. You can even get more HP if you want to, but 55k HP, in my opinion, is enough for PvE. I don't have any issues with PvEing. I do all type of raids, normal, hard, nightmare raids. I do the hardest co-op. I haven't done my Dimension Trials this week, so don't blame me. But I do T10 every single week. I have no issues tanking anything PvE-wise, but I'm also able to dish out damage. Now, what are the skills that you should be using in PvE? Because this is very important. The skills that you want to be using in PvE is the Will Breaker. You always want to be using a Will Breaker because it reduces defense. One of the most important skills inside of the game. It reduces the defense of the monsters, which will let your team do more damage. The second prior and most important skill is your Devoted Sanctuary. You want to have Devoted Sanctuary on this right here. You want to have it on 1, 2, and 3 for the damage boost, and then 4 for the cooldown. Now, if you are fighting some hard bosses and you need defenses, you can swap this out for this. If you're really struggling and people can't survive, they give people defense increase, but you want to be giving everybody a damage boost. Now, aside from this skill, you want to be using your Righteous Fury, because Righteous Fury gives skill damage boost. It also gives defense depending on the boss again. So these are the most important skills, and then you have your Provoker, which is going to be your aggro skill. I don't have any aggro problems because I do so much damage because I am PvE DPS build at the same time. So when I start a fight, I pop my Build Breaker, I pop my buffs, I pop my Build Breaker, I pop my Da Vinci Courage too because it gives you attack speed bonus. And then I pop a Stunning Blow on the target because Stunning Blow puts shock on it, which is going to be useful for other players and yourself. I'm just going to tell you in a second. And then my Guillotine makes me keep aggro. I also use my Immortal Pride with the defense boost. So every time I'm struggling or I see the healer can't heal me, I pop this with the specialization on it, Immortal Pride, which will give me extra defenses. So that's really OP. So that's usually the main skills that when you use as tank. Now you can swap up the other skills like you want. Like these are the most important thing. For example, when I need to pull mobs and stuff, I just swap this with this or something else so I can pull mobs. And when I'm on the boss, I'll just swap this for this. So it depends what you're doing. You can also use your Cruel Smite if you want to. For more damage, AoE damage on the mobs or bosses. It's up to you. But these are like the most important skills that you want to have as a tank. Is your Will Breaker, is your Stunning Blow, is your Righteous Fury, Devoted Sanctuary, Provoker, and Counterbear is nice too, and your Immortal Pride. Everything else you can swap out. So if you want to run something else, completely fine. I don't care. I'm going to explain you why I use these DPS skills too. The second passives that you want to use, these are the passives that I run with for more damage. You can swap out certain things here if you want to. If you want to get, let's see, you want to have more defense during mobs, or you want to have more HP regen with the mastery, you can use this, for example. There's other ways, but I like to run this for speed. I like to run this for defense. I mean, I have enough defense to survive. Now, why do you want to run these skills? So the reason I use Guillotine Blade, Stunning Blow, and Death Blow is because I can do the combo of popping a Stunning Blow with this active. Or is it this active? I forgot. Is it Raging Frenzy? Yeah, so you can pop Raging Frenzy, it's pretty nice for PvE too, because when applying shock effects with the Greatsword, it gives the same effects, so it gives you skill damage boost. But if you use the Stunning Blow and you use your Guillotine and then you follow up with Death Blow, the Guillotine's cooldown actually decreases by half. That's why this is so nasty. So I just pop my Stunning Blow, pop a Guillotine, pop my Death Blow, pop my Guillotine, pop my Death Blow, and if you have a Deadly Mark going, really nice. Now, the mastery that I use for my PvE is this. There's some things you can change. I really like this one for the Death Blow because I can move while using the Death Blow and the Will Breaker. It's pretty nice. And then this is, you can take a screenshot, whatever. The main focus right here is the max HP, of course, the perception, but it's damage based and a shield block and defense based. And healing received is pretty nice too. So this is why I have this one for the healing received. My wisdom above 60, which would give me 10% extra healing received. You want to have healing received so you receive more healing in PvE. It's a really nice thing to have, but this is what I use for PvE. I could get one of these nodes, but they're not really necessary, right? It's not really necessary. And I don't use any shield throw, whirlwind, or any slash, so I don't use this in basically PvE. But this is the PvE mastery that I use. There's some changes that you can do, but I'm fine with this. I'm happy with this. I don't have an issue. Cooldown focus, shield block where I can get it, and that's about it. The artifacts that I use for this build is Ancestral Armor for the max HP. The max HP is pretty nasty, but this is a PvE build that I like to use when I do my PvE, and I'm going to be honest with this, you can do everything. If you feel like you're dying too often, you can swap out things for more defensives, of course, like you can put more defensive passives or more in your mastery if you need to. You can gain more HP if you need to. You can use a Steel Heart set if you need to, but in my opinion, you don't need it. If you're doing things correctly, you won't have issue tanking. Now it's time to talk about my PvP build that people have been asking for. So I have two different PvP builds. Right now I'm doing the Evasion build, but my Evasion build is like, I can get anywhere from 30 to 40 kill games if I'm popping off. Possibly like 45. I've gotten like 45, 46 kills too by playing this. But it usually ranks from like everybody from 25 to 45 kills inside Battlegrounds. And then I have an endurance build. It doesn't do as many kills, but it is more sustainable, in my opinion. But that one, I have also gotten, I think the highest kill count I gotten on my endurance build is 35 kills, while on Evasion it's like 46 to 50. So my endurance build is actually pretty good too, but we're going to be taking a look at the Evasion build because a lot of people have been asking for my Evasion build. So this is the build that I use. First, we're going to be looking at the gear that I am using. So we're going to go to my quest log. Again, only look at the quest log, like I told you guys, for the gear, not for the stats. Because my stats are different because my runes are all over the place. I will explain to you guys what's to use and what to do. Like my evasion here, it says 2.68. It's just completely wrong. I have like 3k evasion and stuff. So it's because of the runes, guys. It's because of the runes and masteries. But the gear that I use for evasion build is, again, I would use the heroic SNS if I could. I don't have it, but it's what I use because my shield strike would do a lot of damage, and you want a high base damage on your SNS too. So this is the build that I use. I would use the cape if I could, but I don't have the cape, which is fine. So I use Calatia Visage, and on the Calatia Visage, I actually have evasion now. So I have like this, and I have like evasion. Boom. So I use evasion on my helmet. I use the forward general cloaks because it gives me melee evasion and magic evasion. I use the flash fire fanatic cuirass, which gives me magic evasion and range evasion. Evasions in general, the pants. And then I use Royal Praetor Sabatons for the shield block chance. Now you can swap this out if you want to with... I would actually possibly swap it out for the... what you call it? Dynasty set for that heavy attack. Possibly, if you want to. But I like the shield block extra because I can stack shield block with it. Then I use the Necklace of a Blighted Sorceress, which gives me hit and magic evasion. Melee evasion, actually. Melee hit. And on everything I would put where I can, I would put magic evasion. So on my gear piece, I put magic evasion whenever I can, and melee evasion where I can. So I build melee and magic evasion. And then this one, I want to build hit too. So I use hit and melee evasion. This is hit and attack speed, and then I have the ring with the evasion on it, and then I have this one because this one actually gives you front evasion. So if you get attacked from front, you have higher evasion, and then I have back hit and side hit chance for more hit chance, and then this belt for more evasion. So basically, you're stacking evasion, you're stacking anything else. So I don't have high collision resistance. I don't have a heavy attack damage. I don't have, because I am counting on people missing the attacks on me. Now the problem with this build becomes here. I will show you what the issue with the build is. Now the issue with this build, the evasion build, is that yes, you have high enough hit to hit players. Yes, you can build high enough magic evasion, 3k. The problem with this build is you cannot build high enough range and a melee evasion. So what happens is any good geared melee or rage player that has high enough hit will slaughter you, basically, because you have no other defenses. You survive against magic, which is W, because most staff or mages cannot get that much hit to actually do damage to you. But you're going to get clapped possibly by melees in range. That's the biggest struggle that I have right now. If I don't have my shield block going or whatever, I'm probably going to get clapped, the counter barrier and stuff. So that's the biggest problem with this build. And there's no way I can get high enough melee evasion because some melees are even running like 3.5k or 4k hit. So you cannot build that. You can choose to build it differently. Maybe with the new gear that's coming, maybe there's a way to get more evasion, but right now I cannot get it. So if there's like low geared melees, they can't do nothing to you, but any high geared players will probably clap you. So this is the gear that I'm using, and then when it comes to my my abilities and skills, I'm gonna be honest, guys. I am using this, which is supposed to give me a lot of evasion, but I don't see people are saying that it works, but I don't know how it works. I've been testing it out. I don't know if people know how the skillful evasion passive works. Let me know. I try to have people attack me from 10 meter range, 8 meter, 7 meter. It doesn't give me any higher evasion. So I don't know how it actually works, but I do use it just in case it works. And I also have it here for the extra evasion. So it's supposed to give me, if people are hitting me for 10 meter, another 500 evasion, but I don't think it works. But if it does, W. This is skills that I'm using for this. I could swap out certain things. Right now, the reason I'm playing this is I have the bind, of course. We have the stunning blow. With the skill hit increased chance, because another 30% chance to hit your stun is very important. I play with ascending slash, as you guys know. I play with the knockdown combo. You know, you go into stunning blow, ascending slash, or position dash into ascending slash into death blow, because death blow does more damage to prone targets. Skill hit for CC, guillotine blade, and then here I use the bind. Counter barrier for damage boost, because this is usually my biggest damage when people are on me, and this is my lockdown damage, right, for the guillotine. And I made a video on me doing battlegrounds, but this is the skills that I use, and this is the passes that I use. You could swap out certain things here because yeah, I don't think this like, for example, Barbarian Dash, you don't need it. I like to use it to get away from things. You could probably put like morale boost for when you collide with your chain. You can get better, faster cooldowns. You can use other skills such as maybe impenetrable if you need to, but this is the skills that I use. But there's many like small adjustments that you guys can make. When it comes to my mastery, this is the masteries that I use for my evasion build. Just fully damage, boom, boom, boom. I use crit damage resistance because I don't have any endurance, which means I will be critted on. If you're using an endurance build, you don't need this, but if you don't have endurance, this is pretty nice to have. It gives you extra crit damage resistance, which is always good. This is the strategic retreat that I'm trying to see if it works, hopefully. And then I have skill damage resistance, which is nice. You don't actually need to run this, but you kind of have to activate it because you need shield block and the evasion from these, right? And same right here. This is my Greatsword. This is what I use on my Greatsword. Blade Harvest is pretty nice when you do the charge because it gains you HP, a lot of HP back. I have on my mastery overall, currently I'm using my Overcome Crisis. When my HP is below 50%, attack speed increases, which is pretty nice. But it has a cooldown of 60 seconds, so it's up to you if you want to use it. I do use Deadly Survival Instinct. This one is pretty nice because my survival skill cooldown decreases by 3 seconds, which is nice for my shield block. So if I kill somebody, I get my shield block back. I use, of course, the Time Bomb. Time Bomb is really nice. And then I use my Dex. I think maybe I swap either this one out for the Lightning Speed. I just don't know. I need to do some more testing on it. For the artifacts, I use a DR, shield block, and evasion. And then for my runes, I will use magic evasion where I can. That's why I had magic evasion earlier. And then hit. Magic evasion and hit. That's what I focus on my gear. And this is my evasion build. So the playstyle is basically avoid magic damage. Hopefully your Bastion and your counter barrier can carry you through all the other damage. Yeah, but you gotta be on your feet. It's not a class that would advise people to play because it is tough at times. You could probably do better with like Gladiator and stuff, but I'm having really fun with this. Now, for the people that want to play Bruiser style but not Evasion, because Evasion is a huge investment and super expensive. That's why I have an arena build. Boom. Now my arena build, I don't have certain pieces on it because I did change it. But my endurance build was also pretty good. I did really good damage. I got a lot of kills on it too. And overall, it's just safer in general to play. So if you look at my endurance PvP build, I will show you guys right here. We have boom. Same thing goes again. Only copy the gear. Do not copy anything else. Now for the endurance build, what I use is, of course, if you have SNS, great. If you have cloak, great. But you want to be focusing on getting endurance. And what I use is I use 2-piece Fallen Dynasty and 2-piece Vanguard because Vanguard is just broken. Gives you insane amount of endurance based on your perception. So this is just really strong. Now with the Fallen set, of course, you get the 2-piece. You get magic endurance wherever you can. You stack a melee and range endurance wherever you can. And you focus on getting heavy attack evasion, which is extremely important. The heavy attack evasion, if you have runes for it, especially magic heavy attack evasion, extremely important. But you will be using the Endless Breeze is the necklace that I use for more perception, dex, and stuff. You could potentially use this bracelet for the hit or other bracelet, but I really like the bracelet because it gives you triple statter, which is nice. I use the Locked of Unrelated Sin, which gives me hit, attack speed, and damage. This one gives hit, attack speed, strength, perception, great. And then this one, earring, front damage, and then belt of the Sun King. So this is the one I use for my endurance build. And then you just stack as much magic endurance wherever you can. And you can stack either max HP or collision chance wherever you can. That's what I would do. It depends on how you want to play. But this is my endurance set. I will usually run around with this with like 2K to 3K endurances when I had it. I don't have it anymore because I don't play it anymore. Because I cannot invest in both gears. Unfortunately, I don't have the Lucent. I'm free to play. But if I could, that's what I would use. The skills that I use for this are kind of different from my Evasion build. I use Chain Hook. I would use Devastating Smash. And this is more, it's not super build. I mean, it's kind of similar, just that I have Valiant Brawl instead. But this is more of a lockdown build than AoE spam build. So this is the specialization I use for my endurance build. Sorry, let's do this. So this is the build. The skills I use for my endurance build. This is the skill that I use for my endurance build right here. And then the skills are these. And then if you look at the masteries, my masteries for my PvP endurance build is this. This is the one I use. You want to have the endurance, of course. You can have the crit damage. This is not super necessary because you already have high enough endurance, but it's always nice if you don't have enough endurance to be able to do some crit damage resist, right? But this is what I use for my endurance. This is my endurance build. Honestly, yeah, the collision chance is nice. So this is what I use for the artifacts on my endurance build. I actually use 2 set chaos and abyssal for the hit. So this is what is my endurance. And this here, you just focus on your runes, getting your magic endurance up as much as you can. And then having the mail and range endurance will give you a high enough boost. Magic endurance is very hard to get, so you want to be getting it anywhere you can. If it's your gear, if you have runes for a magic heavy attack evasion, use that too. If you have chaos runes, use that. But this is how, yeah, see, I'm missing certain pieces. Let me just put this on. And where's my ring? So yeah. With this, you can have about around 3K hit, and then 2 to 3K endurance, which will make sure that you don't get critted on. So it's overall just a safer build, but more of a lockdown build than like a spam build. But that is my builds. If you have any questions, just ask me in the comments. I will answer everybody. Remember, use my quest log for the gear, not for a mastery. If you want the mastery and skills, look at my video. But yeah, finally it's here. Hope you guys have a great time. Remember, it's more of a Bruiser style build. Build your gear based on the heroics you have, and then take inspirations from the build. Thank you so much for watching. Check us out right here, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.